part of this conversation is really that awareness of what you're putting on your skin, and, you know, the kind of products that you buy, and being aware that, you know, what are the ingredients that you're buying in this product, and where are they coming from, and where does this brand from, and where is it made? And can you dig a little deeper into a brand's mission and purpose and vision? And is it in alignment with your values? I was talking about this. I don't know if you know Teju from Clean Rebellion. Do you know this brand? They're carried now by Detox Market.
Yeah. I don't think I know them. No.
No, Clean Rebellion. Anyway, I interviewed her for the podcast, and we were talking about, again, people's empowerment, that you can vote with your dollars and you can choose to invest in brands that are in alignment with your values, versus just blindly shopping at Shoppers Drug Mart, or, you know, whatever is available to you, and not even being sure of how your products are made. So when I came across your brand, Sade Baron, and realizing that I have this balm of yours since a little while, and I'm obsessed. I am literally obsessed with this balm. Like, if I run out, I'm just gonna have to stock up on at least 12.
I have mine here with me. I me too. Like, it's the best thing in the world. I love
the best thing. And
it's so good.
Yes, and it just has that natural smell. Like, there's no essential oils. I love it.
Yeah, that's so important, because like masking agents are really bad for you, and there is studies showing that a lot of masking agents have like really bad ingredients that can cause various strains of cancer, and just like generally not very good to use in general. And a lot of brands in the body care category, and even in skincare, use masking agents to like sort of neutralize the smell of the ingredients or the fillers that they put in, and then they put in another perfume or mask after that too. So you kind of you think you're smelling something, but that's really not the smell of the product. Because if you really smell it, it should smell like food, like nature. When you go outside, it should smell like that, right?
I can actually smell it, because it smells like there's something off. It's like, why am I what's that off smell? I'm guessing it's the masking agent.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's not good for you. So like, even when we started creating the line, it was really to make sure that people knew that these ingredients smell like that, you know? Like, even, you know, when you get aloe vera juice, that one that's like in the green bottle and it's very sweet, but that's really not aloe vera. Like, if you slice an aloe vera up and you put distilled water or whatever and you blended it together, aloe vera tastes very bitter. It's, you know, people have this idea of like certain ingredients tasting the way they do, but it's all marketing. It doesn't taste that way that you think it tastes. It's just because you have added sugars and other you know, flavors added to it. And I think that's also the same for body care and skincare, that there's a lot of the stuff happening where people have this assumption that something smells or tastes like that, and then when you actually taste it for the first time, it's you're having a cognitive dissonance where you're like, oh, this is actually not what it's supposed to be, or oh my gosh, I didn't expect it to taste like this, right?
Yeah. So you started this beautiful business with your mom.
Yes.
And you know, I was just listening to an interview that you did with the brand is female.
Yes, that was
TD Bank. And you were sharing that your mom has, and I don't know if she still has, all the plants and all the aloe vera in her home, and she was always the first one to find a natural cure, like a natural balm for any boo-boo that you'd have. Tell us a little bit about your mom's background and how she came to the idea of creating a business with her daughter.
I think so. My mom was born in Nigeria, and she grew up there with her mom and her brothers and sisters, and her dad as well. And when she was sick, or she had a lot of skin ailments when she was little, her grand aunt would sort of go into the garden and like grab some things and put it together and then apply it on her skin. She would make a lot of soaps and creams and ointments. And I think my mom also, when she was watching her over time, she became very curious about a lot of the plants and started learning and gathering them up and doing that. So initially, my mom wanted to go into becoming a botanist and a sort of like a grower, not like a farmer, but someone who can help with agriculture. And her mom was like, you know what, I really want you to become a nurse because I think it'll be good for you. And it's a job that is like, proof in terms of economy, like it can go down, it can go up. You'll always have sort of a job, and you'll be able to help people just in the same way. And so my mom was like, maybe my mom is right, which is my grandmother. So my mom ended up doing that, and she had met my dad over a number of years, and then they had migrated to Germany, and that's where I was born. And so, as my mom was learning the culture and learning the language, she started realizing that people have the same issues, skin issues, health issues, whatever, right? And then we had migrated from Germany to Vienna, Austria, and that's where I grew up. And again, the language is the same. Germany and Austria have the same language. They speak German. And my mom started seeing that even in Germany and Austria and Nigeria, the common denominator is people are people, food, language, family, all of that things are important. And as she learned as an immigrant about her health and about learning and getting, she ended up becoming a nurse. She was a midwife in Nigeria, and then she ended up getting a nursing degree in Austria. And she was a practicing nurse, but she still mixed a lot of the natural sort of botanic to Western medicine. And then a couple years ago, we transitioned to Canada, and that's where she really flourished, where she like started saying, okay, I'm starting to grow plants. I have a bigger place. I can do a lot more space with more space and things like that. And she was really loving the idea of being able to help people through natural medicine and saying, hey, you know what, like you're constipated, have a spoon of coconut oil every morning to help with that, to soften up your stool, soften up your stomach, drink some olive oil in the morning, or have some lemon water to clean out your liver. And so just these things, or take some probiotic at night before you go to bed so you can get more good bacteria. So over the time, as she had lived in all these countries, she started really understanding that there was a lot of a knowledge that you can kind of get from these traditions and the heritages that every country has to offer. And so I think at that time in 2014, my mom started having so much more knowledge about natural oils and medications and medicine, that I saw that in her. And I had worked in the beauty industry at that time. And I said, you know what, mom, why don't we start something that was natural, that was clean, that was really clean, not just like greenwashing, but clean and came right from nature. And so vegan, the vegan skin food and the veganness was really something that happened naturally because we focused on Mother Nature. We focused on plants. We focused on herbs and botany. So that's my mom's journey, I think.
Wow. I would love to transport myself into, do you still have that kitchen where you do all your products? Because you're still making everything yourselves?
Yeah, so we actually have a facility now that we make the products, and we still make it ourselves,
Okay.
my mom and I. But before we started, we were tincturing in the kitchen, and yeah, my mom is still in that kitchen till this day. So my mom lives in Calgary, actually.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and I'm in Toronto, and it's she's coming actually next this Friday, so I'm very, very, very excited to see her.
Yeah.
But she still, yeah, she still makes a lot of the products. So like when we work on new products, we think of like, what do we want to put in there? What is so important to people? And even my mom thinks about the most sensitive person. And a lot of people have different sensitivities throughout their lives. Sometimes they have illnesses that cause their skin to be sensitive. Their skin just changes through stress or environmental changes. So we want to be able to talk to people that have normal skin, dry skin, affected skin, sensitive skin, dehydrated skin, because we all sometimes have these roller coasters in our lives that affect our bodies. Our bodies are speaking to us sometimes. They're maps in a sense. They say to us, like, listen, I'm not feeling well, and I'm showing you that I'm not feeling well. And I think it's really important. When we started the line, we wanted to create products that really helped people, that made their lives easier. that was like this frictionless experience of body care. You know, most of the time people don't want to apply lotion or cream because it's so greasy. It's so like, oh, I gotta wait for 20 minutes for this to absorb. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the smell. I don't like what it does to me. So we really wanted to create this experience that was beautiful when you got out of the shower or you needed to apply a product. It wasn't something that was a task. It was a pleasure to do because in reality, taking care of your body should be fun in some ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nurturing ritual. I certainly use skincare and all botanical skincare as a ritual. I love connecting with the plants and the products and to really tune into the energetics behind it. And I mean, plants are transferring their wisdom through whatever product that you're taking. If it's a tincture, you have the plant wisdom in there and essential oil, but same for a beautiful infused oil that you're going to put on your face, or you know, a body butter. And to not make it greasy, that's that's an art. So who formulated the products, and how, like, did you go to school for that? Did you just figure it out by playing around with ingredients?
So we formulated all our products. And for a long time, we just tinctured around. And then my mom actually did go to she went to two skin sort of formulation schools. There's one called the I think Natural Skin School, and then there was another one that was also focused on I think it was called the Formulation School, where she learned about the ingredients. And then my mom has also taken a lot of like botany, herbalist tincture classes because she was very curious to dig deeper as to what these ingredients actually do. So it's not just about, oh, I took a formulation class, but it's really understanding the herbs from a composition, also understanding like what the purpose is. Because sometimes you see a lot of brands that put like a bunch of stuff in, but it's like, it's great, but if there's no purpose for it, it's just an afterthought, or it's a marketing ingredient. It's not really an active ingredient. So we really wanted to create a line that had a lot of active ingredients that actually made sense for people to use. For example, I had the idea of like making a body butter that is not greasy, right? How do you get from A to B, right? And really focusing on things that were not just like, hey, let's add a lot of butters and a lot of oils, but how does your skin absorb that? Why are some oils have a higher absorption rate versus other ones have a slower absorption rate? So finding a good combination of that too. A lot of oils like avocado, sunflower, they have a very slow absorption rate. They take their time, versus like things like meadowfoam, camellia, jojoba, or some people call it jojoba oil. They have faster absorption rate because of the molecular level, the way they're actually distilled, the way they're created, right? So things like that do matter. And even your jojoba oil or your can be distilled with olive oil or with certain sunflower or extra virgin oil. So it's again very different distillation processes, and that takes research and time and just tincturing and playing around with it, right? So I think we started really by getting educated and also learning more about just what these oils can do and what composition they are. And I think that was really, really important for us.
And then testing your formulations, asking everybody around you. Is that what you did? Hey.
Yes, we did a lot of that. And even throughout when we started actually launched a business, we did a lot of markets. We did a lot of shows locally, and we would get people emailing us and saying, I love this product. Oh, I don't. I really will support you again, but I think you need to work on this, this, and that. So we've had a lot of customers that we've known from 2016 that are still customers today. And a lot of them can see the growth and transition and the improvement and things that needed to be improved, feedback that we've taken and made better. And also things that they told us like we didn't like this, or so it's important to get the good, the bad, and the ugly, because if you don't get that, I don't think you can't stay in the same position. You have to kind of transition and grow with the customer and their needs as well.
Yes, and in the interview that I was listening with you, you were sharing that you wanted to go get a market that was really broad. So you said, and let me know if I'm getting this right, but you said that you wanted to touch and attract as many people as possible. It was not, any culture, any skin color, any male, female. You wanted your brand to be like gender neutral. And I was listening to you describe like your niche, which doesn't sound like a niche because it's not very targeted. And it's the, as you know, in marketing, it's the opposite that we learn. Like you have to be niche, you have to be niche. And, I'm in the skin issue, quote unquote, issue niche, because like you, I believe that we don't have an issue. We just have our skin is showing us that there's something that she needs help with, which most likely it has to do with, gut, liver, whatever. And I was listening to you describe that market that you're going for and what you were able to achieve. So was that something that you really felt like from within, that you knew that you wanted to go for a broader market, or did you have a strategy behind it? Like what was your thinking for that?
I think it was about, if you have skin, you need body care. And
Yes.
I think we wanted to talk to, we wanted to be unisex. We wanted it to be broad because your color of your skin doesn't matter, in the sense of, you have skin, you need to apply products on your skin. You need to take care of your skin. You need to feed your skin with good stuff so your skin can actually regenerate itself. It's a living organism. It needs constantly nourished and fed and taken care of. And I think for me, when I talked about this tribe of people, it was so eclectic, so unique, because it's just everybody has these different interests. They're different age groups, different races, different sex. But it was so important to me to talk to that kind of consumer, because I think if I just say, oh, I just want to talk to a 20-year-old or a 40-year-old woman that loves her skin already, but there's a lot of people that love their skin. They just don't know where to sometimes find the right products, or they haven't found the right product that works for them yet, right? So I think when I described that market, I thought of a tribe of people that really found a value in taking care of themselves. And it started either with their skin or with their own health or whatnot. But I think there is a tribe of people like me and you. We're totally different individuals, but we are very much in line, although we may not fall into that target market of a specific group of people, but yet we would probably purchase very similar products, right? Or similar things. We would go to the detox market to
Yes.
probably and pick up a lot of the similar things, right? So I think this is quite interesting, that I think instead of calling people a target market, we decided to call them a tribe. They may not be the exact same people, but they all have a common denominator, which is their wellness, their health, wanting to take care of themselves. And it's not an afterthought. It's something that it's really high on their list as a priority, right?
So how do you strategically go after such a big tribe in terms of bringing to market a product?
I think it's education, and also providing easy understanding of like what the products offer, right? So we really focus on skin type and skin issues. So
Okay.
if you have dry skin, there's a very specific type of product that you're looking for. You're probably looking for fragrance free. You're looking for things that are very specific. So when we run ads on like Facebook or whatnot, we really focus on people's needs versus and what we can solve in those needs, versus like, hey, we have the best product in the world. No, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for to cover their needs. So if you have dry, sensitive skin and you're looking to heal your body or your skin, this is what we can offer you. This is what we can provide you, right? If you're looking for something that is, you're looking just to maintain your skin health, then this is what we can offer you, right? This is the product that we can give you. And I think education is also a big key in talking about the ingredients and why the ingredients work the way they do. So like one of the things that I usually say to people when I'm meeting new people, or I'm saying this, literally all our products your skin will drink the products. If they're good, your skin will drink the products regardless, but your skin will drink all our products because they're so good. They're so good for
Mm.
you, you know?
Mm.
It's like looking at a plant, and when you feed it water, you come back a couple of hours later, the water's all absorbed, right? It has been redistributed. And it's flourished and nourished the plants and all the veins of that. And it's the same thing that we want to do for the skin. So I think our strategy is really about talking to people that find value in that and want to change what they are looking to change or even maintain that, right? So
Mhm.
I think that's where we focus on.
Hmm. Any plan on doing Dragon's Den, Shark Tank?
I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like, sure, I would be open to the opportunity. Why not? I think it'll be great to give people more understanding as what body care is, and a category that's been really slept on. Or most people go to, like you said, shoppers and buy whatever they see. And like, if you look at the back, it has like color in it. It has petroleum in it. Oh my goodness, why would you want to put petroleum on your skin? It is such a scary thing. Why would you put a bunch of different type of synthetics on your body? Your body is going to reject that and look at it. And guess what organ absorbs that stuff? The liver. the
Yeah.
liver the liver does a lot of the heavy lifting, and sometimes the liver is sluggish. And why would you want to do that to your liver? you know the liver absorbs so much stuff. That's why some people have to do heavy metal detoxes, because you absorb so much things and you don't realize that some of your hair care products, some of your makeup has heavy zinc, like metals in there, right? It's just really scary, and your gut has to do a lot of the work too. And it's like, reading the ingredients is sometimes very important, even just in the food you buy, not just even body care. It's that whole like thing. We come from an age of industrialization that happened in the early 1900s, and now it's like people are very much like buying stuff and not realizing it, that they're buying things that are advertised in a way that is like very much like greenwashed, clean washed,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know, whatever else washed there is, right?
Yeah.
And next thing you know is like you're thinking you're doing good. You're thinking you're doing good for yourself, but you're not realizing that you've been led by the hand, and you're not recognizing that a lot of the ingredients and a lot of the products are no good for you, right? So I think
Yeah.
for us it's like really important.
That period of awakening for me was so interesting because I started opening different cupboards in my bathroom and in my kitchen, and just this cupboard that I had forgotten, then I opened it and I kept going down different layers and realizing, oh my God. And it's so interesting, like you said, I didn't know what I was putting on my body. I mean, it could, like, that hairspray smelled terrible, right? But then starting to look at the ingredients. And I'm just curious though, because you are so aware of the ingredients and of course, the role of the liver and not adding on to the burden at the toxic burden. But not everybody is aware of that. How much education are your customers coming to you already educated, or do you feel that, in that broader tribe that you're wanting to attract, that you still have a lot of education that you have to do?
Absolutely. So, like, I think within the tribe of, I've defined three people. I've defined the discoverer, the explorer, and then the person who has already been like indoctrinated completely. So they're usually, those are the people. I had this one customer. Her name is Michelle, and she was actually one of my models, and she's great. So she's in her 60s, and I'm not going to tell you how old she is, but she looks great. She said to me that in the early 1980s, when she was looking for products, right, to buy like green, she was already a vegan at that time, or vegetarian. She said it was so difficult to find products. And now today, she said it's too overwhelming. It's just too much, because a lot of people say, I'm vegan, I'm natural, I'm this, and I'm that, and I have antioxidants, and I have this, right? And it's really interesting to see that. And so going back to the three types of customers that I have, it's, yeah, sometimes a lot of the discoverers and explorers are sort of like learning and still exploring, and wanting to change their lifestyle one more, like one additional layer. So the explorer has kind of done the discovery, and now they're like, okay, I've changed my cleaning supplies, I've changed this, and I've changed that, and I've changed my makeup, and now I want to really focus on like self-care routines, such as body care, right? Or the discoverer is like, oh, you know what, I want to change my soap from like a detergent based soap to something that's completely natural, made from oils and natural oils and clays and colors that are come from Mother Nature versus like colorants, right? So yeah, you have a lot of these people, and a lot of them do different kind of activities. So like a Discover would buy maybe like a bar of soap, and that's their first indoctrination of like natural care, or someone would buy the balm, right, and try that out and realize, oh my gosh, this feels so much better, right? And so yeah, they all have different stages in their purchasing habits and what they're actually willing to commit to. And I think we talk to them very differently in ways, and there's a lot of call outs on our website that it really explains to them, like, these are the ingredients in there and this is what they do for you, and these are the benefits of doing that. And people gravitate to different things in context, but that's how we really talk to them. And we try to provide education through our a blog where we write about things to do for sensitive skin, things to do in different weather conditions. Weather makes changes things a lot too. Like in the summer, I don't use a lot of thick products versus in the winter I do that because I feel like I know that I need them because the weather, the harsh environment. So I think to answer your question, yes, we do talk to them very differently at different touch points, and we provide education wherever we can, and let them know this is why what we're doing and why we're doing it, and these are the benefits of doing that.
Brilliant. And do you do this education to these three different archetypes mostly through your social media, or what's your favorite medium of conversation?
I think definitely social media, Instagram. We're hoping to do more TikTok videos where we can provide some education, very quick bites where people can kind of remember that, and then kind of apply it in their subconscious over time. And then also email marketing and our blog as well, where we just write content about different skin types, and ingredient stories as well. So we try to do a lot of that. It's not always easy, but we work to try to be more consistent by sharing that and telling the story. And this too, as a brand owner, a marketing brand that you have, it's the consistency and being able to tell people new things and bite-sized information, because sometimes it can get really overwhelming. Like I remember I did my thesis on healthy eating and how supermarkets can actually support that process a little bit more. And so I started talking to local farmers, and it was so interesting. I talked to a carrot farmer, and she makes carrots that were like, she makes these like different colored carrots, but they're natural colored carrots. They're not dyed in anything.
Yes.
And she said to me that the finer retailers appreciate these quality carrots, right? But then the everyday consumer, when you go to like a big chain, a grocery store, would love to buy the stuff, but sometimes it's so unattainable in price. And I think my thesis talked about the idea of like ensuring that grocery stores can help big farmers to purchase product from them, sell it at a more reasonable cost to the customer, and on top of it, have little flags and explain to people what these products do and how much nutrients you're getting from that, and having these little cards. So, when you walk into the store, they have a bunch of stuff like get 2 for 1, and like you can get a discount for this and get a discount for that. And instead of doing that, you could provide education to the customer and say, if you buy this carrot, you can get this much amount of nutrients. You can put it in your salads. You can put it in this. You can do it in that. You can do it in this. And just creating these like cards, and even having menu ideas for like things like that, because I think grocery stores are so responsible for people's purchasing habits. Like you walk into the snack aisle, it is so much temptation, and a lot of these snacks are terrible for you. Yep. And you can take the responsibility of making the fruit aisle so much more enjoyable, where people can go home and make food that is actually wholesome and good for you. So it was just talking about that idea of like getting grocery stores and partnering up with local farmers, especially Ontario farmers or any farmers in all of Canada, to ensure people understand that they can make better choices, and the grocery store is there to help them and assist them into that journey, right?
I can't believe that you just shared that. So you don't know this, but that has been my rant in many podcast episodes. And what did we talk about before we started to hit record? I said that I have a big issue against big media right now in our government that are not supporting our small organic farmers, that are not educating the people on health awareness through food. Your idea is so brilliant and it's so easy to implement. And why is it not done? Like, why is this not done?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people complain a lot. Like sometimes I have experts coming on the show and they say, yeah, but organic food is expensive. And at first I was like, no, it's not, because I have a farmer here that I can go and get my basket and I have compared prices. But I understand that it's not the case for everyone. I happen to live in the country outside of Montreal, right? And
Yeah.
there's lots of farmers here. There's a movement for regenerative farming. But then I started to be more aware of the fact that there's actually food deserts in the United States, and it's shocking and it's unacceptable. But just back to those big, huge, over here, it's Metro and IGA and Costco,
Yeah.
right? The big food markets that you come in, and literally 99% is all crap. And there's a small vegetable and fruit section, even smaller organic. And what you're proposing is that they be accountable and responsible for the higher quality of food that they bring into their space.
Yeah.
And through my just my thinking process of how can we make organic food more accessible, and hearing people's complaints that, yeah, when I live in London, it is expensive for me to buy organic food. Then I thought, you know what? It's not the fault of the organic food or the organic farmers. It's the fault of these big mega stores that are not creating the space, that are not, um, creating collaborations with farmers. And our system needs to change. And
Yeah.
here you are with a simple idea of, listen, if you buy that carrot and it's organic and it's not, it hasn't been sprayed with pesticides, which is another burden for your liver, and it's going to kill your gut. And here's maybe like a little recipe card too.
Yeah.
Here's how you can
Yeah.
use it.
And and the thing is, like, if you create campaigns around that, like, I get it. They do like the egg farmers and like the chicken farmers. They're really talking about that and supporting those local farmers and putting an identity to it. But I think it has to go past, it has to be also produce where, the farmers markets are really great, but why not collaborate and create farmers markets right in the, like, the parking lot of your grocery store, and support the farmer that way and say, hey, every weekend we have a farmers market sponsored by Loblaws or whoever the companies are,
Yeah.
and saying we're going to support everything local here, and you can shop right there, you can get your produce here at the cost of like nothing, right? Because food shouldn't be expensive.
No.
Food shouldn't be expensive. Food should be good, and food should be a source of nutrients. And, I think a lot of food today is not even food. I don't even think you would consider it food.
No.
When you look at sometimes the ingredients, it's like, this is not food. I can probably make better fries with some sweet potatoes by peeling it, boiling it halfway, cutting it up, and then deep frying it or putting it in the oven, whatever you want to do. That's food. That is food,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, when I thought about that idea of thesis, is because I was going through a journey at that time, 10 years, 11 years ago, where I wanted to eat better. And I realized for me to eat better, I needed to really do the research. I really needed to understand what real food meant and what eating good meant actually. And I'm not talking about fast food. I'm talking about real food that actually like is good for the body, for the soul, for the mind. If you don't eat good food, you can't think straight. You can't focus. You can't really enjoy a lot of like your life, because you're really stuck in this fog of like processed stuff. And like, I think, like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I love eating junk food sometimes, but it shouldn't be a 90-10. It should be a 10, 90, where I eat really good food 90% of the time, and 10% I can eat a little bit of that, the junk food, right? But even then, there's so much alternative option today. So I think for me, it was like important too. So I think for me, it's like I always wanted to add value. And I think I remember having a teacher when I was like 10 years old, and she said, we all are supposed to do something good for society. All of us are required to do that. That is our duty as human beings. Like, we all need to be benefiting to society. And I think when I thought about creating this line with my mom, I wanted to do something good. And that was my contribution of saying, I want to create good products for people that need them, and everybody should have access to that. And everybody should find value in that. And it's really interesting that, even going back to my thesis, I wanted to, when I was talking to the farmers and realizing that a lot of them even have to throw ugly fruit away. And I'm like, why? It's gonna go in my stomach. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, taking ugly fruit and turning it into something beautiful. Like, there's a company in, I think in the US, they take like ugly strawberries and raspberries and blueberries and they make jam out of it. I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
or they make applesauce out of, you know,
Yeah.
dented apples that you can't sell at the grocery store. Like, I remember seeing like a documentary about food being thrown away, like bananas and celery that were dented, and like, I'm like, why just give them
Yeah.
to me, I'll eat them. And I think grocery stores even have like these measurements of how long a banana could be if it looks too shapely weird. And it's like, let's get rid of all this stigma of this beautification of fruit. It's fruit, it's meant to be eaten. It's mother's nature's way of showing you she can produce all these really beautiful things, right? So
Yeah.
you know.
Thank you for sharing that. And honestly, like I want to remind everybody listening, and I say this all the time, is that, Rachel is super vocal and you've done your research and you have all these ideas. And anybody listening can also be vocal and walk into your grocery store and say, hey, bitch, give me something better here. Like, that's the point that I wanted to make, is that it's unacceptable that organic food is too expensive. It's unacceptable that it's not readily available. And it's up to us to ask for it. It's up to us to demand. It's up to us to vote with our dollars. Like, where do you put your money? And I agree that not everybody can have a farmer nearby, but can you maybe, I don't know, be creative in how you get your food? So I was sharing that the other day on Instagram, and I said, get closer to your food, get closer to your farmers, run in the other direction from GMO glyphosate food. That's an evil company. They're poisoning your food. They're radiating your food. It's just like, run in the other direction towards the farmers. And somebody said, well, I'm not going to drive an hour to go get a carrot. And I said, well, okay, that's up to you. And if it's going to be for your health, can you maybe carpool with a bunch of friends and make it into a nice outing where you're going to go? Maybe you're going to volunteer. Maybe you're going to come back with a huge basket for your. There's so many ideas when you want to be creative, but ultimately it's about your health. It's
Yeah,
about
and
your
your
health.
health.
You're
Yeah,
investing in
and
your health.
exactly, exactly. And your health is, I always say, your health is wealth. If you don't, if you
Yes.
don't have good health,
Yeah.
there's everything stops. Everything stops for you.
Well, we
You
saw
can't
that
do,
this year.
yeah, you can't do anything. So when people say, oh, you know, my health, I can't drive an hour, I can't do this, I'm like, like, your idea of carpooling is great. I remember seeing a documentary about the industrial age changing the way people had farms, right? Or apparently there used to be a lot of neighborhoods before the 1950s, where maybe like in a neighborhood of like, I don't know, 1,000 people, there would be someone that had like a community garden and they would go and buy everything there. And then over time, as people moved into the city and less people lived in the rural areas, there was a huge demand of like food influx because a lot of people were eating more, the cities were growing, but all of a sudden you didn't have access to fresh food the way you did, 50, 60 years ago. So now you're looking at this idea where, you go in a supermarket, it's been so industrialized, where yeah, it's important. Take the time every weekend, like in the summer, especially, I go to farmers markets intentionally,
Yeah.
because I know that I can talk to the farmer, I can get to know them, I can ask them questions. My mom lives in outside of Calgary in a small town, and there's a lot of farmers there. So she would go and get a lot of her potatoes and like her corn and her vegetables and her strawberries and her raspberries, because she can actually meet the farmer and she can pick it up. And then what she does is, over in during the off seasons, she would just freeze all the strawberries and the raspberries. And it's like, it's very simple things. Instead of you buying frozen fruit, you can do that yourself at like practically at no cost,
Yeah.
and do simple things like that, right? And it's the same thing with sustainability. You can do simple things like, loose leaf tea versus bag tea. You could do simple things, like I started switching from detergent, like liquid detergent, to the strips. Quick transition, same process, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started using my own cleaning supplies, so I just use like vinegar, um, lemon and water, and a little bit of some of our own liquid soap, and mix that together and do the cleaning, and it does the job just fine. And I have no chemicals in my cupboard when it comes
Yeah.
to that. So simple things like that can really make a big impact over a long run. And I think, even looking at generally the clean movement and healthy movement, it was that one spark that started eons ago, and now it's become such a mainstream thing. But now we have to ensure that people really apply that into their lives and do that. And I think as our body care line was like one thing that we wanted to do, where people knew that they could find clean products, and not just like greenwash products, but truly clean products and vegan products and natural products that weren't greenwashed or placed in a way that it provided false advertising. It's really truly what we are offering.
So a quick question about the strips. Is that the Vancouver-based company?
I think so. Yeah, I bought it at the health store, and they come
Yeah.
in like packs of 50, and you just take one and you put
Yeah.
it in your laundry, and it's really effective. I thought my clothes were gonna stink at first. I was like, I don't know, you know. But usually when I have like big laundries, I'll put like 2 strips in there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I switched over to a company that does these like chewing toothpaste as well, and you just buy the refill. So instead of using
Oh,
tubes, you can do the toothpaste, they're like little balls, and
okay.
you just put it in, and then it starts foaming up, and you just start brushing your teeth, and it does the job as well. So like little things like that. I mean, um, we all can participate, and it's the same price
Yeah.
practically. And once you start buying the refills, it's even cheaper.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm at war with plastic. 2 years ago, I gave myself a no plastic challenge for the whole summer. And
Wow.
I have a local store here, a local health food store that supports a lot of the farmers. They've been doing a lot of sustainable initiatives for the longest time. I learned a lot from her. And it just started to, I just started to be aware that there's just way too much plastic, plus the whole recycling thing. We've been lied to. Most of the stuff is not really recycled properly. So yeah, I haven't bought a new bottle of liquid detergent for my clothes in the longest time, because I can go to this place here and I do a refill. So I haven't done the strips yet, although
Right.
they've been on my radar, because I can refill the same bottle. Like, I will not buy one more bottle of liquid detergent if I don't have to, because I'm looking at how much stuff still makes it into my recycling bin, and I think, okay, I got work to do. And the thing that really was disappointing last year with COVID is that all efforts of sustainability were just pushed aside from a lot of businesses and restaurants. Like, you couldn't bring your own, like in the past, you could bring your own containers. You go get your pizza or whatever, your Indian food, in your own glass containers. So they didn't want to do
Mhm.
that anymore, because they didn't want to touch your coffee cup that you would bring. And I started to see how this would be like a disaster in terms of taking us back in our efforts. So now
Yeah.
I think people are trying to make an effort again. So yeah, so I hope that companies don't drop the ball when it comes to making sustainability efforts in the name of an invisible virus, when you can be creative once again in being sustainable and being safe. um, and yeah, so many little things we can do in our everyday life in terms of little changes that can have a big impact, because guess what, we're 7 billion people. 7 billion people, or at least a few billion making an effort, and suddenly we have a green earth.
Yeah, and I think I was reading that we don't have to be 100% like green or sustainable. If you just did a little bit, if every single person in society did a little bit of that work, you're right, we would have a greener, better earth. I mean, it was even interesting when COVID first hit, they were saying that the skies in Los Angeles were clearer, the seas were cleaner, the beaches were cleaner, and the common denominator was us human beings.
Yes.
We were not adding value to the world and to Mother Nature. And
Yeah.
so when you see that, you start thinking, oh gosh, okay, so we are the problem, not the other way around, right? Animals are not. We're stewards of them. We're supposed to take care of them and keep
Yeah.
the earth palatable and clean and well. And it's really difficult to not see that, right? Like you can't avoid saying that this is not true. It's not real, right? It's happening. And I
Yeah.
think we have all a responsibility to be participating in that and doing our part. And I think that's also really important, is that you don't have to completely be indoctrinated, but if you can do your part as as a citizen, that is all that is required at the beginning. And I think once you start, you get a hang of it, you get an idea of it, it just becomes easier, it becomes part of your life. Like I refuse to take plastic bags. If I don't have to take one, I won't take one. When I'm at the store, I'd rather take my canvas bag, and I'll reuse that and wash it and reuse it again. And it's just things like that, little things like that. And I think it does really matter when people try to justify that, or I wouldn't drive an hour, for example, to get farmers food. Why not? Oh my gosh, you meet the farmer, you meet the person who grew your food. That's amazing. Like, how many people actually meet people that make their food? Like, that's why I tell people, like, I make the products, my mom makes the product, it's good. Like, you can, we touched everything there, we made it, right? So I think if you can meet your farmer, I would love to meet my farmer whenever I could. Like, even when I go strawberry picking, I meet the farmers, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your strawberries, they taste so good, right? So
Yeah.
it should be a pleasure to want to meet someone who grows your food. It's an art. It's a way of living, right?
And maybe just to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you for feeding me. Well, just before I let you go, I just want to drop a few things, a few resources that I'm going to link in the show notes, on top of course, your website, which is sadebaron.com, and your Instagram is also Sade Baron. I just wanted to drop a few resources. One is the Netflix documentary Kiss the Ground, which is so interesting. Then there's Little Big Farm, which is one of the best documentaries that I've seen, that really shows us the amount of work behind regenerative farming. And then there's this guy that I came across this weekend, the Gangster Gardener. Do you know him?
No.
Oh my God, beautiful black dude who looks like Idris Alba. He's so hot, and he's like a gangster. He decided to call it gangster gardening because he's like in South Central LA, and it's a food desert. And you know what he started to do? He started digging, those strips of land in front of apartment buildings that are dirty, and there's no grass, is dead, and it belongs to the city, but it's supposed to be your responsibility to take care of it. Well, he started to build gardens there. And next thing you know, he got a notice from the city to say that he had to cease and desist planting food to feed people. And then this journalist caught hold of this story, published it, and then it created this whole movement. And he's been doing this for, like, I think it's since 2013. He had a TEDx talk in 2013, if I'm correct. And he's super inspiring. And so he thought, how am I going to make this cool for people, that it's more cool to be gangster, and to be, dealing drugs and having guns. And so he decided to just create this movement that it's gangster to own a shovel, and it's gangster to play in soil, and it's gangster to plant your own food. And he created this amazing movement. So I just want people to look him up. He now has a masterclass on masterclass.com, which is one of
Hey,
my
that's the
favorite.
guy then. Okay,
Oh, you seen him?
I seen a commercial on Masterclass about gardening,
Oh,
and
click
my
on
mom is,
it.
yeah, okay, I'm definitely like gonna look at that because my mom is a avid gardener. Like, she grows tomatoes, zucchinis, garlic. She grows aloe vera. She grows a bunch of herbs too. So yes, this is like incredible. I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah, I mean, just purchase the course just to see this dude who's just, he's like a sexy gangster gardener, and he's so creative. Like, he's literally pulling a drawer from an old desk, and he's teaching you how to make a garden in his drawer.
That's
So
brilliant.
so you
Oh
can
my
be so creative, and it's back to empowerment, and anything that has to do with empowerment. And you're so empowered and beautiful, Rachel, and
God.
thank you. Like, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It's already been an hour. I feel we could have talked for 4 more hours, and we haven't talked about your sustainability efforts. I think you're going to have some challenges in the future, but hearing you and your entrepreneurial spirit and your creative spirit, I know you're going to find solutions. I know you're going to be part of this movement for change on its planet. And I'm just so happy and honored that I have met you, and I'm here to support you.
Oh, thank you so much. I had such a great time speaking with you, and the fact that you care about your environment, and you care about what you put in your body and how that affects you and what you can do about that is so important. Education and experiencing and letting people know that there is a different option than just what they are told or sold constantly is so important. And I think that you bring so much value to everyday people. And I
Thank
think
you.
sometimes you make it easy to relate as well and ask the hard questions. So the question that people kind of like, I don't know if I should be asking this question. I think you really make that very easy. So I just want to thank you for having a space like this to be able to let people know and learn and educate and reapply and unlearn things that they shouldn't have learned in the first place and learn new things. So thank you for having that space and thank you for having us today.
And yeah, it's my pleasure. Again, pleasure is all mine. And hopefully in the future, I can have you and your mom together and we can
Yes.
dive into more of your products and the ingredients behind it. So if you can convince your mom to do a
I will.
Zoom video call and we can share that, I would love to see. I'd love to hear about your mom and her story. So anyway, just a little idea for the future.
Absolutely. You consider it a date for the future for sure.
Okay.
I will convince her to talk to you, to talk to you and your audience. We would love to. Absolutely.
Thank you.